What's the cringiest thing that has happened to you in a game that made you kind of want to leave that game? There were still a couple people in that gaming group who tried to bully me, and Howard stood up for me.
Yeah.
So even in role playing games, there were people who were trying to bully. There was one guy who tried to kill every single one of my characters. And
I've experienced the role play bullying too. Yeah.
Yep.
And not only the role play bullying, but I've also experienced like actual violence in gaming, which is a very rare occurrence. And I've also experienced threats of violence and like horrible racism during like in real world racism.
I've not got the racism yet, but ever. But there was a game I ran where I think your brother was there. I don't know if you were there. And two of our friends, mutual friends, were going to get into a fist fight over the game.
I was there.
You were there. You were there.
Yeah, I was playing a character that game.
Yeah, okay. It was a Star Wars game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
And they were fighting over Star Wars.
They were fighting over a Star Wars role-playing game.
So fitting. If there was anything that was going to involve physical threats of harm, it would be a Star Wars role-playing game.
I had to hold one of them back while my brother held the other.
I know Carlos got involved because I said to Carlos, I said to Charlie specifically, I told him, if they want to fight over this game, let them. I don't care. That seems stupid. Let them do something stupid. And
everybody was like upset by the whole thing and like, this is retarded.
I don't even know what it was about, but the argument it was about.
It had devolved so much and people were just acting at their basis level. And me and my brother like went outside and he was like, you're coming with me. And then he grabbed one of them and held them away, and I grabbed the other and held them away. And one of them kind of gave up first and was like, okay, this is stupid, and saw reason. And the other one was like, and the other one was the less likely, I thought, to be super aggressive and like trying to be machismo. And they were the one that wouldn't back down. That was just really, really angry at it. And I thought it was hilarious. I was like, dude, this is silly. This is the silliest thing that I've ever experienced up to this point. Two people arguing so hard, so intensely about Star Wars. We might as well have just given them like fake lightsabers and then let them go at it in the front yard and videotaped it and put that up on YouTube. That would have been
one of those people who were going to get into a fisticuffs. He was running a Dungeons and Dragons game, and all I wanted to do was play like a paladin who liked the ladies, right? He ran around with the ladies, but he was also a paladin and he cared about faith and everything. And then, okay, you come to this town where there's this lady that you had a relationship with, and she has a son, and she claims it's yours. What do you do? And I went, well, this breaks my character. What do you want me to do? Either I can say no and fight this and seem like a weird, terrible person, or I can say yes, and then that retires my character as I sit down to have a family with this woman. What do you want? And he really didn't have an answer for that, and I didn't come back to that game. He was like, well, you have to deal with it. And I'm like, this is the end of the character. I don't know what to say, man. He was like, well, this is the character you made. And I'm like, it was a fun thing, just a fantasy thing that I wanted for the character to have. I don't have this in real life. Let's see if I can, what it feels like to be like that in a game.
Oh, and ladies, man.
Tarek, you got anything like that?
Yeah, I would say the thing for me would be in an L5R game, I had a character that I had made like either the session before or maybe even the same session. I think what happened is the game before my character died, and then I was supposed to bring in a new character. And so I spent the second half of that entire game session making a new character that would be introed in the next game. And I think you were in this game, Corey. I don't know if you remember. It was like the fall of Otis Anucci in L5R, and it was this big dramatic plot points and stuff like that. So I had a character die. Next game session came in with a new character, and that next game session, the new character that I had created was introduced to the party by being a little monk kid on a boat floating down a river that was coming toward the group, and everybody freaked out that this person was coming on a boat toward them, and one of the player characters was playing a Saruchi archer, and she shot my character straight in the chest and killed me in one hit.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck this. This is such bullshit. Every time I make a character in this game, it seems like I am the target, and I didn't even get to introduce this character.
They pushed you out of that game, and I let it happen too.
So
I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
I feel like a total heel about that.
I had to fight my way through. My brother was really the reason why I stayed in that game for so long. And then a couple other people kept telling me, like, don't let it get to you. Just try to be the bigger person, and we'll support you or whatever. And that kept me going for a long while. But then after a while, I was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. I'm seriously done.
Sasha, we don't want to ignore you. I'm sorry. We're down in memory lane, and you're like, now you're writing a story. You're like, why am I even here?
Stuff down. I'm just taking notes for your guys as therapists. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Obviously, I've had unsavory things happen where I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. But honestly, I think that my top 3, all of them would not have happened if I was not a woman. So I don't really want to talk about those particularly much. So I feel like I would have to go into something else. Maybe, Tarek, you remember that campaign that we were in the Feywild? And I don't want to say any names. Y'all are brazen. But there was a trickster cleric. You remember that one?
Oh yeah, there was
a player who was playing a fairy. We were doing a Feywild campaign. They were doing a fairy trickster cleric, and I don't know what exactly happened, because ever since like session 1, it's kind of like the player had it out for me. I don't know why. I still to this day don't know why.
I still don't understand why they were especially the way they were aggressive, just like way
in and out of character. I don't know if I can be kind of intense, and I can play like intense characters or whatever. But the thing is that I wasn't. I was literally playing a super shy, super nice centaur who is like servitor, like a deer centaur, who is a cleric of Twilight cleric, and she's a pacifist who refuses to hurt like a fly, and had her courage taken away by fairies when she was a little kid. So she's like scared of her own shadow. And this character somehow intimidated this player or pissed them off so much that they just decided to make my life awful.
A living hell.
In and out of game. And it got so bad that the dungeon master had to ask them to leave, because I almost cried after a session just because of the levels of aggression that were like being directed to me for no reason. Like nobody had any clue why this was going on.
Type out the answers to the questions. I'd like to read them. I'd like to know what you're thinking. Yeah. What's a cringy moment you had? How did you get into role-playing games? I want to know. Write it down.